countries remain steadfast in our resolve to support Ukraine, not just in the here and now with the resources it needs to defend itself, but for the long term as well.
Prime Minister, why is bringing down overall net migration numbers so important to you?
Because it's something that we said we would do in our manifesto. I know it's important to the country, but I also know that tackling illegal migration is the country's priority.
Back in 2019, the government promised to cut net migration. At the time it was 226,000, it's gone up. It was 504,000 last year. Do you commit to bringing them back down below 504,000 by the next general election?
As I said, I'm committed to bringing down the levels of net migration that I've inherited, and I'm relentlessly focused on stopping the boats. That's one of my 5 priorities, and we're doing absolutely everything we can to do that too.
Do you accept that by the next election you might not be able to bring them down below 500,000?
Again, I'm focused on bringing down the levels of legal migration, but I am also completely focused as one of my 5 priorities on stopping the boats from Albania.
What viewers might see is that in 2019 they were 224,000. They're now 500,000 in the year to June 2021, and they probably could go up to nearly 1 million next week. But and you can't give me a figure as to what you'll commit to. But anyway, let's move on.
What I can commit is that we want to bring those levels down.
The UK government has this morning unveiled a national semiconductor strategy that will see it invest up to £1 billion over the next decade. The aim will be to boost the UK's strengths in design and research and development and in so-called compound semiconductors, that semiconductor material composed of 2 or more elements. It's also aimed at supporting the UK's domestic chip industry at a time when Chinese aggression towards Taiwan is highlighting the risks in the global semiconductor supply chain. Well, join me now, Scott White. He's co-founder and executive director of strategic initiatives at Pragmatic Semiconductor. Scott, welcome to you. I mean, this initiative has been in the pipeline for 2 years. What's kept it?
I think it's a complex challenge, I think, for the UK of figuring out where does it fit into things. You know, we can't really take exactly the same approach that the US and EU have of saying we're going to spend tens of billions of dollars, euros, pounds on investing in bringing advanced silicon node manufacturing to the UK. It just would not actually be a cost-effective thing to do in the UK, and certainly wouldn't be sustainable in the long term. So ultimately would be a waste of money. So I think there's been a lot of effort focused on actually where does the UK have strengths, where can it really play to those, how does it develop those in the best way, and then in parallel with that, how does the UK work with its international allies to ensure that it has appropriate security of supply across broader technologies that it can't play in?
Well, one of those strengths is compound semiconductors. For the uninitiated, what are those?
So as you described, compound semiconductors are basically semiconductors that have more than one element from the periodic table. Perhaps to simplify it even more, it tends to be used as a catch-all term for anything that is non-silicon semiconductor materials. So most of our semiconductor devices today are in the form of silicon chips, but actually there are a number of other materials that can create semiconductor devices that have better or different characteristics. So as an example, we make semiconductor devices that are extremely thin and flexible, so they look like that, rather than being rigid chips. And that means that they can be embedded in a wider variety of things.
Fantastic. What was that made of, the item you just held up?
So we use what's called thin film semiconductor materials. They're basically based on metal oxides, but essentially they allow us to do the equivalent kind of functionality to a silicon chip, but at about 10 times lower cost and with that unique form factor. So in the context of what the UK is trying to solve in terms of supply chains, we can actually replace silicon chips in a number of those critical applications that have been holding up manufacturing of other key products in the industry, but they can also enable new use cases such as embedding electronics into packaging for fast-moving consumer goods. Everything you buy in the supermarket could have a unique identity that can be tracked to allow better supply chain traceability and even things like improving the recycling and reuse of packaging at end of life.
And how did the UK come to have a lead in compounds in this way?
The UK has always had a strong R&D focus in semiconductors. If you go back 20 years or so, we did also have a significant position in silicon, although that has, for a variety of reasons, generally moved out to the Far East. But I think that underlying R&D capability, based in many respects on our world-leading universities and the skills and talent that we built as a result of that historical position in silicon, that has led us to be able to develop these new capabilities. And the challenge now really is, how do we make sure that as we develop those into larger scale, that we ensure the value of that is retained in the UK?
We've talked a lot in the past about the way China has cornered the market in certain commodities, for example, so-called rare earth metals. Is there a danger that some of the elements involved in these compound semiconductors, again, China will have cornered the market in them?
There's certainly challenges in many semiconductor materials around the sources of supply, and so ensuring that it's not just about having one piece of the puzzle, but that we look across the entire supply chain of what's needed. I think that's also, though, an area for innovation, where some of these newer advanced material technologies can get around the challenges of some of the critical material supply constraints that exist in conventional semiconductor manufacturing.
Scott, we've got to leave it there, I'm afraid. It's good to see you again, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our Nationwide Building Society is to hand £340 million to members with whom it has its deepest relationships. The UK's second biggest mortgage lender will pay £100 next month to members who hold both a qualifying current account and a qualifying savings or mortgage account. Well, the news came as Nationwide reported a pre-tax profit of £2.2 billion for the year to the 4th of April. That was up from £1.6 billion in the same period a year earlier, and came despite Nationwide reducing its share of gross mortgage lending during the year. Its share of the overall mortgage market, meanwhile, fell from 12.4% to 12.2%. Well, joining me now is the Chief Executive of Nationwide, Debbie Crosby. Debbie, welcome to you. How many people will qualify roughly for this payout?
Good morning, Ian. Roughly 3.4 million of our members.
Very good. I mean, this is obviously great publicity for you, but I mean, the cynical old journalist in me, Debbie, wonders whether this is a recognition that you've got too much capital on your balance sheet and this is a neat way of handing some of it back.
Well, Ian, all of our profits, because we're a mutual, are retained for the benefit of our members. So what we're doing is we're thinking about the right ways to return the best value. And in addition to the fairer share payment that we've announced, we've also announced a fairer share bond, which pays 4.75, which is available to 60 million members. And that would also be on top of the £1 billion in financial benefit we've already delivered this year. So it's all about returning value because the profits stay for our members.
The fairer share bond is paying 4.75% over 2 years. You have to have your money tied up for that period of time.
Yes, you do.
Right. Looking at the results then, impairments came in at £126 million, I think. What were the kind of loans on which you've been making impairments most?
Yeah, so our payments are more or less flat. The large majority of our loans are our mortgages and our books, and actually they've been performing well. And despite a lot of the narrative externally, we've seen very stable arrears and very comfortable with that position.
I think at the tail end of last year, you were predicting that house prices would remain more or less static for the next 12 months. Is that still your base case?
So our base case is that we still expect some minor adjustments downwards. We began to see stabilisation. Actually, in our last house pricing index, we saw a very small rise. For me, what that shows is early signs of stabilisation, but I would say that it's going to remain volatile in the coming months, so we're cautiously optimistic.
Obviously, you let your share of gross mortgage lending slip last year from your traditional share. What was the thinking there?
Yeah, well, it's a very small reduction, and really what we saw there is that we saw a lot of dislocation in the mortgage market. It was a very, very competitive market, and we focused mainly on our existing members. We have got great retention. We've managed to retain around 80% of our existing customers, and therefore we felt it was better to focus on providing them the best value rates. But we still supported 1 in 7 first-time buyers, and we're still very optimistic that we're beginning to see some signs of recovery in the mortgage market, some early signs of recovery, but we still aren't back to where we were pre-pandemic.
What about buy-to-let mortgages? Obviously, there are a lot of amateur landlords who are giving up the ghost and leaving the market. What sort of demand are you seeing for buy-to-let mortgages right now?
So buy-to-let demand has fallen, and you are aware, Ian, that it's challenging for landlords. There is a number of difficult issues for them at the moment. Rising mortgage rates have meant that profitability in the buy-to-let market is more challenged. We think first-time buyers, we think that landlords are a really important part of the private rental market and will continue to support them. But right now, we understand that it is difficult for them.
But is that a share of the market that potentially you're looking to grow, or are you basically keeping share where it is right now?
We've seen a reduction in the overall market, so our share of flow we will maintain. But as I say, the market is quite considerably down this year.
Now, what about the savings market? We've talked about the new bond that you've launched today, but I mean, more broadly speaking, a lot of institutions are being accused of not passing on the full extent of the Bank of England's interest rate rises over the last 15 months or so. What proportion of rate hikes have you roughly been able to pass on?
So we passed through about 55%, which is 65% more than the average of the high street lenders. So, we are in quite a different position to a number of the high street lenders. And actually what you'll see in our results is we've got a really strong deposit performance. Our deposits grew overall in the year by over 9 billion. Actually, 6 billion of that was in the second half of the year. So we are seeing very strong performance. And I would also say that what's working really well for us is most of our, a lot of our, 2/3 of our online, of our savings fixed rate bonds are being opened in our branches. 40% of our ISAs this year have been opened in our branches. So not only are our competitive rates driving really strong flows, also the fact that we can offer people the opportunity to come in, sit with our colleagues in the branches and have a conversation is working incredibly well for us.
That's very interesting, because obviously a lot of your competitors are closing branches right now. I mean, you've actually been actively opening them in some locations.
Well, we are really committed to a branch network. We think it's an important part of what we do. And, given we're a mutual, we can make these choices. And it's another way that we return value to our members. And our members have told us that whilst digital is important for convenience, they also want, when it's a complicated issue or when they want to maybe have a conversation about something that's more difficult for them, they do want the opportunity to come in. And that's not just older people, it's also younger people that we found when the issue is complex, they want to be able to sit down and have a conversation with someone that they can trust.
And just going back to this point on savings at the moment, what sort of behaviour are you seeing among your savings customers right now? Are they changing the duration of which they're tying up their money?
What we're seeing, Ian, is that a number of people who historically held balances in their current accounts are being much more focused on the rate. So we're seeing a real shift from balances being held in current accounts and instant access accounts into longer term fixed rate bonds, ISAs, etc. So we're definitely seeing that shift.
We've seen some cases, Debbie, in the recent past of where savings products have been launched on the market, and they proved so popular that the institution involved has had to close them to new customers very, very quickly. I mean, if you get trampled in the rush for this new bond, will you be forced to shut the doors on it?
So first of all, that new bond is only available to our existing members. And that's really important because we want to make sure that we give the best rates to the people who are already part of the building society. We hope that it attracts new members, of course, in the future. But that particular bond is only for our existing customers. But we thought very hard about how we are ready for what I do think will be a very busy period for us. And we've also said that we will only make the bond available for a fixed period of time, and we'll review how busy we are and decide how long we keep that product on sale. But you can open it online, you can telephone us, and we're prepared to open it, or we'd be delighted to see you in one of our branches to open it. But we're looking forward to being busy, Ian.
Do you worry about competition from national savings? I mean, obviously, they've been mandated by the government to bring in more money. They've raised their rates on a lot of products, including premium bonds.
So we pay attention to all of our competition, but we think we offer great value. And it's a mutual, as well as offering great value, we hope that people recognise that we can also give back to society. This year, we've been able to donate, as we have in previous years, 1% of our profits. And for this year, that amount, we've donated just under £10 million to good quality causes. So we hope that really means something to people, and it's one of the reasons that they would choose to put their deposits with Nationwide, as well as the great rates and great service.
Indeed. It's a busy day for your results day. We do appreciate you sparing the time to speak to us. Thanks, Debbie.
Thanks, Ian.
Some other business news stories for you now. And Walt Disney has scrapped plans for 2 major investments in Florida, under which more than 2,000 California-based employees would have relocated to a new $900 million campus in the state. The move follows a row with the Florida governor, Ron DeSantis, who wants to strip Disney of the right to essentially run Reedy Creek, which is a special tax district near Orlando, which is home to Walt Disney World and a number of the company's hotels. The move comes after Disney spoke out against the Florida Education Bill, which limited classroom discussion of gender and sexuality. Shares of Smiths Group rose by 1% this morning after the FTSE 100 engineering and industrial technology specialist raised its annual sales forecast for the third time in 5 months. Smiths, which is best known for its airport security scanners, but which also supplies couplings and bearings to the oil and gas industry and electronic components for the aerospace and defence sectors, said it now expects sales growth to come in at around 10% this year. The company, which had previously predicted sales growth of around 8%, said it continued to see strong growth in most of its end markets. The Irish Drinks Group, which owns brands including Tennent's Lager and Bulmers Cider, has replaced its chief executive following a botched systems upgrade. C&C Group, whose other brands include Magners Cider, said David Ford had stepped down after a systems upgrade at Matthew Clark and Bibendum. Its drinks distribution businesses had taken longer than expected. It said disruptions caused by the delayed upgrade would result in a one-off hit to profits of around €25 million. Well, C&C Group has appointed Rolf Finlay, the former chief executive of the pub operator Marston's, to oversee the transition to a new chief executive. The shares are currently off by some 17%. And the parent company of the Hotter Shoes brand has put itself up for sale. Unbound Group, which targets the over 55-year-old customer demographic, said it had recently been holding talks with its advisors and banks with a view to raising more funds either by a sale of new shares or by extending its borrowing facilities. But it said that as part of that process, it had also decided to initiate a formal review of strategic options available to it, including a formal sale process. The shares are currently down by 20%. Well, another positive finish on Wall Street last night was followed by mixed trading for equities overnight. You can see the picture in the Asia-Pacific region. Both the Hong Kong and Shanghai markets fell amid concerns over the Chinese economy. But look at the top left-hand corner. The Nikkei in Tokyo continued on its recent blistering run, and it's today hit its highest level since August 1990. That was the month I started working in the city, actually. In Europe, equities are also going into the weekend on an upbeat note. Here's the current picture. All of the main continental European markets in positive territory right now. Talking points include Autogrill. The Italian motorway and airport services group is ahead by some 3.5% in Milan as a takeover draws ever closer. Well, here in London, the FTSE 100, it's also in positive territory right now, up just under 0.5% in a broad-based rally led by the mining and energy heavyweights. Among the gainers in the FTSE this morning, well, Flutter Entertainment is among the main one. That's ahead by nearly 2%. A lot of positive broker commentary about that company recently. On the downside, Burberry is off another 3%. That's on the back of its results yesterday. Outside the FTSE, not a great deal of corporate talking points to get into today, but Titan Holdings is down by some 12% right now after rising losses forced the windows and ventilation system specialist to cut its dividend. On the foreign exchange markets, well, the main talking point is that the Chinese renminbi has fallen to a 5-month low against the US dollar. As for sterling, well, that's more or less unchanged against the greenback. It's down by 1/10% against the euro. The single currency, meanwhile, is up by 1/5% against the dollar. As for the oil price, well, that is actually on course right now for its first weekly gain in 5. Had a good week, a good session a couple of days ago. A barrel of Brent crude will currently set you back $76.26 a barrel. That is up a little over half of 1%. Well, joining me this morning is Neil Wilson, Chief Market Analyst at Finalto. Neil, good to see you this morning. Got to start with Japan. I mean, it's shooting the lights out at the moment, the Nikkei.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Japanese equities have just found favour this year. The Bank of Japan, you got to look at, the global situation here, and, the Fed's raising rates, the ECB's raising rates. Just about everyone is. The Bank of Japan's keeping things super loose there. So I think that's helping. That's helping to sort of get those risk assets a bit more premium. I think also, investors have been looking for outside of the US. So the US has been the big play for 15 years, big tech, although that is finding bid this year again. But investors have been searching for some better returns, and Japan has just been one of those markets that's been latched onto.
Yeah, I mean, and company results have not been too bad either coming out of Japan.
That's it. I mean, the economy in Japan seems to be recovering pretty well. You've got inflation actually is up at a 40-year high. So the Bank of Japan is keeping things super loose despite inflation at a 40-year high. That's the sort of core inflation. So it's trending above sort of 3 to 4%, and I think they're saying the Bank of Japan is saying that that's to do with imported inflation, but I think you got to look at the demand side as well. So I think Japan's doing pretty well. Equity market reflects that.
Yeah, I mean, it really does take me back. I mean, the Nikkei peaked. I think it hit its all-time high at the end of 1989, and that was on the back of a bubble. It's been downhill for the last 2-3 decades, really. I mean, it's just extraordinary.
Yeah, I mean, it's that. I mean, you've got a few years on me there. I think I was 6 when that was happening. Japan's gone through this huge disinflation, this deflationary cycle for the last sort of 30 years really, and that has seen it enjoyed a massive run up. That was a massive bubble. That was one of the big all-time bubbles really, and it's been trying to recover ever since, and really struggling to get any inflation, and inflation's quite good. A little bit of inflation's quite good, and that's what we're seeing now.
Yeah, I mean, elsewhere in the Asia Pac region, of course, the renminbi's sold off today. We've had issues with some of the other stock indices as well. I mean, how seriously should people worry about this?
Yeah, so I think China. There's a bit of doubt about China. There's obviously lots of problems, in terms of its financial, the sort of financial system there, the property market there. You had Alibaba results maybe were a little bit soft yesterday, so that seems to have dented sentiment. Well, I mean, the extent to which we can trust any of the data is obviously a little bit, up in the air anyway. But, you had that big China reopening story. It's maybe not playing out entirely as maybe we thought, certainly in terms of consumer demand. But we are seeing, for example, oil demand in China has hit a record high, 16 million barrels per day. So there are signs that China's recovering, but it's the extent to which the People's Bank of China ultimately always comes back to the central banks. The extent to which it sort of helps float things and keep things going. And at the moment, it's trying to keep things quite buoyant, but there are sort of fundamental questions about the economy now.
Okay, Neil, we've got the US debt ceiling, which is obviously the other big talking part. I've just been told, actually, that we're about to see pictures from the G7 of the world leaders gathering. Apparently, Joe Biden had a little stumble, apparently. I mean, I think we might even be able to see it. Have a look at that. Oh, yeah. There he goes.
Yeah. I mean, he's doing okay for an 80-year-old, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, here are the live pictures now of what's going on. They're gathering for the so-called family photo there. Neil, I mean, do people, will the dollar start to react if we see things like that happening more frequently? I mean, in the old days, Alan Greenspan used to cough and people used to worry about his health, and the dollar would react on that. Could you see that happening with Biden?
I think it's priced in. I think it's well discounted by the market already that he's an elderly gentleman, and that sort of thing might happen. I don't think that there's a massive risk there. The dollar's moving on so many other factors right now, the Fed and obviously the global economy. I think the debt ceiling obviously is the key thing that we're looking at the moment. It looks like we're going to get something over the line by June the 1st, and that could result in some further dollar strength. Should we see bond yields pick up? We think probably there's going to be a lot of issuance of new bonds when that debt ceiling deal does get done. That's going to send yields higher. That acts as a kind of tightening in the market, and so that could push the dollar still further. So we think probably the dollar's got a bit further to run now.
Interesting. I mean, it is your base case scenario now that there will be a deal over the debt ceiling.
I think it's always a bit of a charade. I don't think. I mean, you get to 2011 type scenario that can suck, a lot of a lot of juice out of the economy. You get a sort of contraction of maybe even 5% GDP. Should the worst happen in terms of a shutdown, I don't think you get a default. The US is not going to default. I don't see how the US ever defaults. So I think this is a charade, and we play it time and again, and I think we'll get a deal.
And you mentioned you think there's a bit more upside for the dollar. I mean, if you look at it against sterling, for example, where does that go?
I think you're in a kind of range at the moment. I think we're in a sort of range between, say, 120 to 130 for sterling dollar. We're tracking 124 and change at the moment. I think you could see it, test at 122 maybe. But sterling's catching some upside too. It's got some bid because of the Bank of England is going to need to raise rates probably a bit more. The economy is doing better than we thought, but that's why I think probably we're in this sort of tracking this kind of range between about 120 and 130.
All right, no, got to leave it there. Always good to see you. Thanks a lot. Still to come here on Ian King Live, I'm going to be speaking to the Chief Executive of Ipswich Town about why the summer months are the busiest for those controlling the footballing purse strings. Stay with us.
When I was here last summer, I said we were really worried. We'd had a 60% increase on the same period last year. Well, since in that 2-month period, we'd had further fire deaths and further fire injuries, all associated to e-bikes and e-scooters. And I think,
talk to me about these pictures. What happened here?
Well, you can see the picture here. So the key point I'd like your viewers to take away here is you've gone from a normal morning in a kitchen with somebody charging their e-scooter to an unsurvivable environment in a little under 12 seconds. That, what looks like smoke, is a totally toxic vapour cloud. It has just about every nasty gas, hydrogen cyanide in it you can think of. Really toxic. And then you've got to total flashover conditions. Those flames are over 1,000 degrees, and it explodes and puts particles all over your room. And the other thing you're not quite seeing on that footage is that scooter has been charged in a communal kitchen next to the communal escape route for a number of bedsits. So that totally compromised the escape route. Nobody's getting past that. Ideally, charge it outside or in a garage.
It can be tricky, can't it?
It can, and of course they're quite a capital investment. e-scooters are probably £1,500 to £2,000. E-bikes are over £2,000. So, a lot of people won't want to charge it outside because it's quite an investment. If you are having to charge it inside, that is not ideal. I need to be clear about that. If you are having to charge it outside, don't compromise your escape route. Have it somewhere where, if it does fail, you can close the door and leave immediately. Get your family. Alert your neighbours, get out, call us out and stay out. We've had examples, Kay, around the corner in Southwark, a foldable e-bike. The occupants heard a hiss and a bang and it blew the bedroom door off. And they explode with such force they've been moving internal walls. So these are really quite volatile things when they go, and you need to be aware of that.
Welcome back. Now, for many football fans, the next few days or so are the real business end of the season, which will decide promotion or relegation, glory or despair. Well, one club that's earned an early summer holiday is Ipswich Town, promoted from League One to the Championship, its first promotion in 23 years. But while the players book their beach holidays behind the scenes, it's the busiest time of year, with contracts to be signed and big financial decisions to be made for the next season. Well, joining me now from Portman Road is Mark Ashton, the Chief Executive of Ipswich Town. Mark, welcome to you. Got to start first of all. There was an incredible match in League One last night between Sheffield Wednesday and Peterborough. You must be delighted that you're not in those playoffs.
Like you wouldn't believe. I have to say, I watched the game last night. Darren Moore's someone I've known for many, many years, and I was just so pleased it wasn't us going through that anxiety and that pressure. But what a game! What a great advert for the sport as well, for the third tier of English football.
Yeah, it has been a fantastic season this year. I mean, tell me all about summer for a football chief executive. I take it you don't get any downtime at all.
No. 38 days till the players return for pre-season, and 78 days till we start competitive league fixtures. So myself and the staff behind the scenes are very focused. A number of things to do. Player trading begins now as the transfer window starts to open, and then on top of that we have all the infrastructure projects, major investment here of £2.5 million into new pitch and infrastructure projects in the stadium, and all the financial planning around financial fair play that comes with it. So very busy time for us.
Now, you took a big gamble appointing Kieran McKenna as your manager. He's achieved his success in his first full year. Are you going to be able to hang on to him?
Yeah, I would think so. He seems very happy. I think the stability that we have as a club, the stability that the ownership group brings here, we're well financed, and we're moving forward in all directions. So I think Kieran understands the journey he's on in his career. I think we're a perfect fit for each other. This is potentially a huge club with huge opportunity, and to have him leading the team and taking us forward on the pitch is something we're very, very pleased with.
Well, you mentioned that you're putting in a new pitch. I mean, Portman Road already got some of the biggest attendances outside the Premier League last year. Is there much that you can do with the stadium in terms of adding capacity?
Yeah, I mean, we're at 29,500 capacity here with segregation. When we joined the club, you know, average attendances were probably 14,000 in League One. Last season we were averaging 27,000 in League One, and we were capping out at a lot of games towards the end at 29,500. Just incredible. Before we were promoted, while we were still a League One club, we sold 21,000 season tickets for next season. It's just incredible. The whole club has moved forward. If you look at our retail, for example, historically, even in the Premier League, this football club had only turned over about 1 million-ish in retail. This year we'll break through 4 million in retail. We averaged to sell around 12,000 shirts per season. Last season we have sold 50,000. So financially and off the pitch as well as on the pitch, the club is moving forward on a very steep upward trajectory.
You sold 50,000 shirts. That's astonishing. I mean, is that mainly because you got Ed Sheeran, who of course is a celebrity supporter? He designed one of the shirts, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He got involved in the blackout kit, which was the third kit, which was a really good seller for us. Listen, when you've got a world superstar who's a local man, supports the club, supports his local community, sponsoring the shirt, and is part of the club moving forward, it can only help. It certainly helps when you launch your shirt and the first night at Wembley, Ed Sheeran rocks up in your new home kit. So he's fantastic. A real big fan of the club and a huge help to us. But I think the whole club has moved forward now at such a pace. You know, season tickets, work in the community, attendances, retail. Again, as I say, it's a very steep upward trajectory that we're on.
Does that mean, though, that you can immediately try and push for promotion in the Premier to the Premier League next year, or is next year going to be a season of consolidation?
It'll be a season of progression for sure. Again, we're well backed. Like all the clubs, there are financial fair play controls in place, profit and sustainability rules that we have to adhere to. But as we do, we trade players. You know, we've bought well. We've bought young players in with value, the likes of Lee Davis, Nathan Broadhead, Harry Clark from Arsenal, etc. Connor Chaplin, who scored 29 goals last season. All young, hungry players with real value. And whilst we've spent money on those players, what people forget is we've also traded players out in the background. And if you look at our net cash outflow for a 3-year period, say last year, this year and next year, and all the players we brought in, all the players we sold, we're literally net zero. We'll more or less break even on player trading. So while people see what you buy, they don't tend to see sometimes what you're selling in the background. So we have a model, and we'll stick to the model. I expect us to attack the Championship well and continue to buy good players that give Kieran McKenna the very best opportunity to be competitive.
Now, I hate to rake over old coals, but before you joined Ipswich, you were 5 years at Bristol City, where it's fair to say some of the supporters think the club could have done a bit better under your stewardship. What's the case for the defence?
5 years at Bristol, amazing time. You know, we finished consistently just outside the playoffs. Stadium was completed, training ground was built, Carabao Cup semi-final. I have a really good relationship with the ownership group there. In fact, Ipswich get promoted, and the very first person that texts me and congratulates me is Steve Lansdowne, the Bristol City owner. So I think that tells you about the relationship I still have. As a CEO, look, you take the bullets. Sometimes things will go right, sometimes things will go wrong. I have very fond memories of Bristol City. They're a fantastic football club with incredible owners, and I'm sure they'll be ultra competitive next season, and I look forward to seeing the owners there for a drink when we see them.
Yeah, nice. You're a class guy, Steve. Mark, all the best to you. Good to see you this morning. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for your time.
These are the latest pictures that we've all been waiting for. This is the family photo for the G7 right now. This is in Kushima in Japan. Obviously, the main body of the meetings is being held at Hiroshima itself. There's Olaf Scholz that we're looking at there, Rishi Sunak, Ursula von der Leyen from the European Union. Not sure what that music is in the background. It's something traditionally Japanese, I suspect. There we go. At least it stopped raining for them. It's been very miserable over there the last 24 hours or so. Now, the rise of artificial intelligence is like a freight train heading towards the workforce. That's what the chief executive of one energy company has told Sky News. It comes after BT announced yesterday that around 10,000 jobs will be replaced by advanced AI in the next 7 years. Our business correspondent Paul Kelso reports.
I would definitely say that's something that we should do.
When you pick up the phone to a company, this is what you hope you'll get: a human to help.
Sure, I can set that up for you over the phone.
But send an email to Octopus Energy, and the answer might now start with artificial intelligence. It's answering 44% of customer emails just 7 weeks after it was introduced.
It's read every email we've ever sent to a customer. It's read every training manual we've ever used with our team. It's read every bit of regulation. I mean, it's read every bit of the arcane back end of energy. It kind of just knows it all, right?
The boss says AI won't cost jobs here, but it is a threat to workers in the wider economy.
Around the world, governments are quite quickly beginning to think about what they have to do here. But we haven't got time to wait and see, because look, if a freight train's coming at you, you don't wait till you feel it hit before moving out of the way. That'll be too late.
Generative AI is changing the workplace fast. This London law firm has a bespoke AI tool being used by 3,500 lawyers in 43 countries just 3 months after it was launched.
On an individual basis, it's a boring productivity gain, really. It's an hour or two a week, but when you multiply that by 3,500, that is a big deal for a business.
What, before this existed, would that have been a realistic target if you'd been asked to find go off and find 3,500 hours?
It's impossible. It was impossible to find these productivity gains through a single deployment of a system a year ago. We couldn't have done this.
Job losses are inevitable. BT says it will replace 10,000 workers with advanced AI by 2030, and they won't be the only ones. Government has no plans to legislate, but unions say rapid
SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clemens, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
The best radio show. The coolest way to start your weekend.
Hi there, this is CJ Buckman, your life coach. And whenever I'm in London, I listen to Starr Radio UK right here. But guess what? You can listen to wherever you are.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
In your car,
At work,
at home,
on your
This is
smartphone.
Starr Radio UK. Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Hey, this is Archie and you are listening to Starr Radio UK and The Morning Show.
This is Starr Radio. Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Welcome. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Love for you runs deep. All of you makes my heart beat. You make a doubt they fade. Jesus, and that's what makes you great. You hold the world in your hand.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. We want to salute each and every one of you, and once again welcome you to the Friday edition of the morning show. Today is the 19th day of May, the year 2023, and it's now 10:44 from the hearts of London. The Friday edition of the morning show, of course. So wherever you are, welcome, welcome, welcome to the show. But do me a massive favor, share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones. And as we say here on Starr Radio UK, listening to us is the coolest way to start your weekend. I remain yours sincerely, the one and only.
This is the morning show with Archie.
But I say good morning to my team this morning, Mr. Olayomi, Mr. Tabiri, CEO of GIL Accountancy Services and Money Man. And to all you wonderful people who have tuned in to listen to us. Felix all the way in Aberdeen, Kojo D, Joyce Dake, good morning to you. My able producer, Mr. Francis Guy. And then to Anthony Adedeji, good morning to you. Bishop Adesina. Pastor Mo, good morning. Olakunle, good morning. Tosino, good morning. Samsudin, good morning. Aziz, good morning to you as well. And to you all wonderful people who have tuned in today to listen to us. Those of you in South Africa, Mr. Ebenezer, Hamon, Chantal, all you guys there, massive good morning to you in Cape Town.
One who took my
this is how the program is going to go for you. For those of you who have tuned in for the first time to listen to us, I'm going to bring you the quote for the day. The weather forecast will follow suit, then the travel update as well. Move on from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe, known as global trotting. Then exactly at 11 o'clock, I'll bring you updates from Nigeria with Mr. Olayomi Koike. The program continues from there, so we'll look at some of the other stories making the rounds. At 12 o'clock, the lines will be open for you to add your voice to the discussions, and then exactly at 12:30,
all of you make
keeping fingers and everything crossed, we'll cross over to Kent, where our money man is.
You make a doubt they fail.
So in the gist, that's what's going to happen today.
Jesus.
But as you know, as I will say, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, and welcome to the Starr Radio UK Morning Show.
The hand that made me who I am, same God now, yesterday, and forevermore. And that's what makes you great. You are God. You will never change.
So moving on straight to the quote for the day, it's our parents are responsible for bringing us into the world, but we are responsible for who we become. So stop blaming your parents all the time. It's my mom, it's my dad, it's that. We keep on doing that, but you know what? What have you done today to make you feel proud? Or what are you going to do today to make you feel proud? It's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK.
Great is to be praised. Great are you.
Okay, moving on straight to some other stories. Make my apologies to other parts of the program. That is the weather forecast. 10:48 the time.
Love for you runs deep. All of you makes my heart beat. You make a dog fade.
So, for the weather, well, any showers will gradually ease through the afternoon. It will continue mostly cloudy, although a few sunny spells are likely to break through. This evening will become progressively clear, but areas of cloud will move in overnight. Now, small chance of some mist or fog patches to develop in places.
You are
Top temperature is going to be 16 degrees. The lower is going to be 7 degrees. UV level is going to be moderate, appalling level low, and pollution low. Sunset 20:51 and somewhere for tomorrow morning 05:03 hours. And for the weekend weather, Saturday will be chopped to the temperature. Saturday. Tomorrow we'll see a cloud rapidly breaking to reveal plenty of sunshine through the morning. A few patches of cloud will develop in the afternoon, but it will stay dry. A warm day expected. The same way, Sunday is expected to be warm with plenty of sunshine there as well in the morning. Cloud will then develop from the east in the afternoon, but it will remain largely dry.
God Almighty.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of the weather forecast. Average temperatures for the weekend 18 and 18 degrees. Okay, let's cross straight to the travel update. So wherever you are, stay tuned, don't you go away.
In your car,
at work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Okay, so keep your eyes on the roads. Also keep it navigated. I promise I'll on the Starr Radio travel update that comes to you every weekday from 10:40. But it's late now, 10:50. But I promise you one thing for sure, I'm going to deliver on all my promises. Not like the politicians do, though. Okay, so on the underground this morning, good service throughout those of you in London. Yes. And then DLR, good service. London Tramlink and London Overground, good service there. Now, moving on straight to the major roads in London. A23 has got serious delays, and Central London Red routes serious delays there on the A23. What's happening? Let me bring you some snip view of it. The Streatham High Road, Glenagill Road, and Stanthorpe Road. Streatham High Road at the junction A214 Glenagill. Temporary traffic signals operating during emergency SGN works, and that's brought about serious traffic there. The river bus, good service there. Landing cable car, good service there. So that brings us to the final segment of the travel update. That's the National Rail. On the National Rail today as well, it's not too bad there. Chiltern Railways has got special service. Great Western Railways, severe delays, and Greater Anglia special service. That aside, all the others, good service. That is how I say it once again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today. But you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the roads.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
All right, then, welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. It's now time for Global Trotting. Okay, so what is happening on your travels? My apologies, the news that is making the rounds today, because I had some news coming through to my feed that is confusing me. Now, Philip Scofield's brother has been jailed for child abuse. Timothy Scofield was convicted of 11 sexual offenses involving a child between 2016 and 2019. Okay, and then in other stories making the rounds, we go straight to Niger. As a sender, Sean Kuti is there in police custody, and Buhari offers automatic jobs for 65 ex-corp members at NYSC 50th anniversary. Now beware of loan sharks, NCC warns consumers. People are desperate. What do you expect them to do? So coming away from Starr Radio UK, $396 million needed to tackle humanitarian crisis in Northeast. It's sad. But the federal government moves to sanction advertising violation, unveils advertising offenses. Tribune says. Immunization, the federal government begins construction of mega storage facility for vaccines. Max ex-governor McCarthy's 9 buildings for demolition. What is it? I'll be telling you more about that. Is it in a waterway? Why is it going to demolish it? Is it in a space that is not supposed to have buildings there? What exactly is happening there? So why can't these buildings be given to some poor people to inhabit or used for some other purpose that will benefit the state? CBN seeks partnership with Google to set up virtual museum showcasing Nigeria's currencies. An active mobile subscription in Nigeria declined to 225.8 million in March 2023. And victims abducted after killing of US officials have been rescued. Lots more going to be coming your way from there. Thousands displaced as death toll climbs in central Nigeria clashes. An African peace delegation to visit Russia in June or July, Moscow is saying. Now, Ramaphosa said on Tuesday that Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had each agreed to receive the 6 members. And in Zimbabwe, a fleet of Russian helicopters for disaster management and policing has been received. And Tunisian journalists protest anti-terror laws. In other stories making the rounds as well, Hajia for Reals network to be probed in alleged $2 million romance scam, the FIC saying. And as withdraws from testifying against Nyantechi over order to remove masks, he's saying that, you know what, it's going to put me at risk, and therefore I'm not going to do that. And Nyantechi will say, get in there. Okay, the PRC approves new water tariff effective June 1. And a by-election in Kumawu, PPP declares support for independent candidate. Professor Quarter says IMF bailout for Ghana program will come with benefits and disadvantage. That's what the professor is saying. How true is that? Moving on straight to some other stories also making the rounds in Ghana. Joe Gatti urges delegates to elect experienced, trustworthy persons. Please decentralize criminal clearance services to regional police commands. Those are some of the stories making the rounds in Ghana as well. But when it comes to some other stories on the world front, G7 agrees to stop Russian war machine. Leaders of the G7 countries gathered in Japan and made a focus on Ukraine and the tension with China. But the war in Ukraine has brought about a mental scar, and Ukraine, the psychological effects of Russia invasion are starting to show in Ukraine at the front and at home as well, at the battlefront and at home as well. And President Assad is to attend first Arab League summit since war. Syria was suspended by the regional body in 2011, but it's now being welcomed back into the fold. Well, in Iran has executed 3 over anti-government protests. Amnesty says the men were killed in a blatant act of vengeance and without a fair trial. So I was asking this morning, I was talking to my producer, and I was asking him, do you think that if you are in a country or a place where you know that you cough and you are being sought after, anything that you say could be misinterpreted and then you'll be in trouble, do you go criticizing, or you manage to get out of that place and then go on fire on all cylinders? What do you think? It's quite an interesting one there. And somebody said that those who have got the balls are the ones who, in the thick of it, they don't give a hoot about what is going to happen, and they'll still critique. Well, and they said that, well, you take our lives, at least people know or knew that this is what we did, and we stood for it, and we died for it. What do you think? Which one will you be, or which one will you do? Let me know. I would love to hear. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. In the UK, legal migration is too high, Prime Minister says. The Prime Minister refuses to put a precise figure on an acceptable number of legal migrants. So illegal problem, legal problem, which one do we want? UK's 1 billion chip strategy, quite frankly, flaccid. One CEO says the government semiconductor strategy does not address the needs of the UK chip makers. A man has admitted Connor's gun attack plot. Edward later planned to target Christian preacher Hatun Tash, who is a regular speaker at the park. Wow. And counting has started in Northern Ireland. Council election voters went to the polls to decide who will represent them on Northern Ireland's 11 councils. And teenagers have been jailed for life over schoolboy stabbing. The mother of Carrie McLean, 15, pleads for an end to violence as his killers are sentenced. And this is a debate that I've been having with most of our black parents, because I ask myself the question, we are always angry about the way they stop and search. But we say that predominantly it's our folks who are carrying it and killing our children as well. So what do we do? If we've done introspection of what is going on and maybe find a way to stop that from happening, and then please also now go on to stop our children, we say no, That is not fair. But if some of them or some of them are perpetrating the act, they are hiding those weapons to go and commit such crimes, then what do we do? Catch-22 situation? I want to know more about that. Okay, no. It's Starr Radio UK. Let's now go take a break, and I'll bring you some music once we prepare ourselves for the updates in details from Nigeria. Some instrumental piece there in the background. Let me acknowledge him. That is Latte. A saxophonist bringing you some nice worship songs this morning. Okay, now let's move on.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
At your feet, I will dwell.
Radio.
Wave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I'm bringing the time now to exactly tick, 12 minutes past the top of the hour, and it's a Friday edition of the morning show. My apologies sincerely because Mr. Olayomi Koiki has been caught up in some event and therefore will not be able to be with us. He was doing his best to see whether he could, but I said that it's so tight that he can't make it. So I'm going to bring you all that he has posted this morning. But let us proceed with this announcement, and that is pertaining to the Women to Women ministry who are having a supermarket sweep program, and that will be taking place tomorrow. It will be taking place tomorrow online. So okay. So on online, the details are going to be displayed there. Okay, so please. Earlier was going to be in-house, but now it has been taken online. So please make a date. Join them on those information. If you want further information, join them via Zoom. Okay, the Zoom ID and everything is streaming under the broadcast. So please make sure you get it and get in touch. It will tell you more, unpacking food labels and what they mean, how to read food labels in a rush, what is the traffic light system and how you can use it, demystifying terms such as whole grain, whole foods, plant-based, low-fat, etc., etc. And I said the time again, Saturday, tomorrow, 20th of May, 2023, time 1 p.m. So make a date there. All right then, make a date with them. Pastor Annette Hercules, who is going to be the host and the speaker. The guest speaker is going to be Rebecca Harris, who holds a BSc in Global Nutrition and Health. Join them on that program. It will help you a great deal. So it doesn't matter where you are across the globe, you can still hop on and hop in. All right then, Starr Radio UK. Okay, now let's move on straight to some of the stories making the rounds from the updates from Nigeria. As I did say earlier on, sincere apologies. Yomi has been caught up in an event and therefore can't make it live with us. But some of the stories making the rounds in Nigeria today says what? Okay. Now, the first story, okay, let me bring you the headline first. Court extend Sean Kuti's days in police custody. And then Buhari offers automatic jobs to 65 ex-cops members at the NYSC 50th anniversary. Well, the president is leaving in how many days' time? Today is 19. So in 10 days' time, he's leaving. He's handing over. So he decides, you know what? Let me do some good. And that's what seems to be happening. But in a time now in a country where to get loans, to be able to fend for yourself, it's becoming difficult and challenging. People have come up from graduation from universities, have not got jobs to go to and all. And somebody say, etc., etc., etc. With the introduction of AI in this advanced part of the world, that's going to make the whole situation worse. What is the way that people can actually fend for themselves? Is by going to get loan. And where do they get the loans from? Loan sharks. But the NCC is warning consumers that be careful, be very careful going to loan sharks for such funds. Nigeria Communications Commission has cautioned members of the public to be cautious of fraudulent activities of those it described as loan sharks. Okay, so we're going to be telling you more about that as well. Some of the headlines there before we go into details. Aero5 is moving to demolish the former state governor's properties, some of his properties. Aero5 revokes right of occupancy of ex-Kaduna Governor Ahmed McCarthy's properties. And he's saying that Nasir El-Rufai, governor of Kaduna State, has revoked the right of occupancy of 9 properties belonging to the former governor of the state, Ahmed McCarthy. The affected properties have also been marked for demolition. I'm going to tell you more about that. Where and why has it been marked for demolition? Is it because that he's afraid that maybe if we don't demolish it, it's going to be something that people will mimic and therefore will also be doing so? But when it's demolished, then everybody knows that, well, everything is said, done, and it's okay. What do you think? We're going to be looking at that. But can it be used for another purpose that will benefit the community as a whole? Is it in the waterway? If it's in the waterway, why not? Or in the green belt? Is that it? But if it's not, then why are we demolishing it? Is it on government land? If it's on government land, why not? Why don't let the public enjoy or benefit from it? Can't it be turned into a library or maybe a hospital or a clinic or something that will benefit the community? Homeless people can come there to come and sleep there. Can't we do so? But we'll tell you more about that in a moment. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And now $396 million is needed to tackle the humanitarian crisis up north. Now the question is, how much would it have cost them to actually secure that part of the country so that they wouldn't have people who have been displaced or refugees in their own country? So that it's going to cost us to a magnitude of 396 million. Is that what it's going to cost us to fight the insurgents? Well, I'll be telling you more about that as the program goes on. And if you have any stories also making the rounds in your part of the world or in Nigeria where you are listening to us from, feel free and send it to me, and I promise you one thing for sure, I'm gonna find it. Okay, one other story from there, Nigeria as well. A U.S. Embassy convoy attack. Anambra police arrest 2 and reveals identities of victims. Ho, ho, ho. All right then. The Anambra State Police Command has given an update on last Tuesday's attack on the convoy of United States Embassy officials in the state, revealing that it has arrested 2 persons in connection with the incident. So let's start from there. The Commissioner of Police, Echeng, said the police operatives moved swiftly as soon as the command got information of the attack. He said they combed the raided the camp used by gunmen in the area and found that it had been totally deserted, but were able to arrest 2 members who he hinted are now helping police in their investigation. He said the number of deaths recorded in the incident was 7. He listed the names of those killed as Jefferson Obayo 1, retired Department of State Services personnel, Sunday Ubon, Ekene Nweke, Hassan Etila, Vuwavi Kai, Monday, Buka Kabuki, who is a police officer, Emmanuel Lokpata, who is also a police officer, and Friday Morgan, who is also a police officer, and Adamu Andrew, a police officer. So how many police officers were killed there? 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, and 3 other civilians, workers of the U.S. Embassy. Now, the commissioner lamented that the 7 persons, including 3 U.S. consulate officials and the 4 police escorts, were killed during the attack, while 2 others, officials of the consulate, are yet to be found. The police operatives are all of inspectorate rank and serve as Squadron 23 Police Mobile Force Lagos. Now, Echeng noted that the bodies of the victims have been recovered and deposited in a morgue, while the command and other security agencies are working round the clock in concert with the Anambra state government to find and rescue the missing officials. The CP said the arrested men have had their contacts traced through their phone conversation, and that the command is gradually closing in on their killers. Now, preliminary investigation conducted by the command revealed that 5 officials of the U.S. consulate and 4 armed police officers, police escort from Lagos on a mission to assess the impact of erosion in Ogbaru Council were traveling in a convoy of 2 vehicles when they suddenly came under the attack by armed men who targeted them with gunfire and set their vehicles ablaze. Sad one, a sad one, a sad one there. But what has happened? Well, they are promising that they're going to pursue them, but that they've arrested 2 people who have been held as part of it. Okay. All right then. So now moving on to some other stories making the rounds there in Nigeria once again, and this time round, okay, it says now IMF scores e-Naira disappointingly low on adoption in new report. Now, in a recent report by the International Monetary Fund, the adoption of the e-Naira, Nigeria digital currency, has been assessed as disappointingly low. The IMF reported sheds light on the challenges faced by the e-Naira project 1 year after it launched, and emphasizes the need for additional measures to enhance its adoption. Now, despite the absence of major risk factors such as large-scale cybersecurity events, the IMF report acknowledges the Central Bank of Nigeria success in maintaining uninterrupted 24/7 operation in the e-Naira. However, the report highlights the sluggish take-up of a digital currency by both households and merchants. One of the key findings outlined in the report is the low growth yet in e-Naira wallet downloads among retail users. Although there was an initial surge in downloads reaching 500,000 units within a short period, a subsequent progress has been slower. As indicated by the levels of the wallet, downloads and transaction, the public adoption of the e-Naira thus far has been disappointingly low. It took an additional 63 days to reach 600,000 units and a further 143 days to reach 700,000 units as of end of November 2021. The total number of retail e-Naira wallets stood at approximately 860,000, which counts for only 0.8% of Nigeria's active bank accounts. Now, comparatively, the number of merchants utilizing e-Naira wallets amounted to approximately 100,000, just a fraction of the merchants employing traditional points of sale terminals for card payments. The IMF report also reveals that the majority of e-Naira wallets remain inactive, with only a limited window of heightened active observed. On average, there have been around 14,000 e-Naira transactions per week since the currency inception, representing a mere 1.5% of the total number of wallets. This indicates 98.5% of wallets have not been used at all during any given week. The average value of per e-Naira transaction has been approximately 923 million Naira per week, which amounts to a mere 0.0018% of the average amount of the M3 broad money supply during the same period. The average value per transaction stands 60,000 Naira. But so early to judge. Now, while acknowledging the challenges faced by the e-Naira project, the IMF report emphasizes that it is still too early to pass final judgment on its fate. The phased approach taken by the CBN, initially granting access only to customers with bank accounts and restricting transactions to onshore use, has limited the tangible benefits of the e-Naira adoption for most wallet holders. Now, moreover, e-Naira faces tough competition from well-established incumbent networks such as Mobile Money, which offers similar services and a broader acceptance. In response to the low adoption rates, the CBN has entered phase 2 of the e-Naira project. This phase aims to broaden the coverage of the digital currency by including individuals without bank accounts but with mobile phones and valid Know Your Customer information, that the KYC. Okay, so we see what is going to happen there. But have you used that before, and how do you see it? Do you think it's good? The e-Naira, if you're a business person, do you think that you comparing that with the money wallet, okay? Which one do you think is better, or would you prefer? I want to know that. Well, it is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. Updates from Nigeria, 27 minutes past the top of the hour at the time. The morning show, the program. So wherever you are, don't you go away. All right, so let's move on straight to some other stories making the rounds this morning in Nigeria. Now, okay, let me get that story lined up well. We're talking about money. Nigerian Communication Commission, that the NCC, has cautioned members of the public to be cautious of fraudulent activities of those it described as loan sharks. The commission said it has received over 20,000 complaints from those who have fallen victims of the sharp practice of the online fraudsters. Now, Head Consumer Affairs Bureau, Nigeria Communication Commission, Mr. Ayambaji Ojo, made the disclosure yesterday during a telecom consumers sensitization program themed "Shine Your Eyes, No For Mugu," held at the spare parts market Agodi Gate in Ibadan. Now, noting the need to educate the people on the financial fraud going on in the telecom space, Ojo said that the activities of the loan sharks have caused a lot of people pain, with many traders vulnerable to what is going on. He enjoined the telecom consumers to approach their service providers to resolve their complaints, adding that if they are unable to resolve it, they should approach the commission by dialing 622, which is a toll-free number. Have you fallen victim to this fraud. He said the market people are our telecom consumers. Without them, we cannot exist as a regulator. The market people deserve to know what is going on. Today's program is different from what we did at Bodija and University of Ibadan. Now today we are talking about shine your eyes, which means there are so many financial fraud going on through the telecom, and we want to educate our people, particularly the traders, because most of them are vulnerable to what is going on in the telecom space. There have been so many complaints on loss of money, so we need to educate our consumers all the time, because we are now in the sustainability of telecommunication industry, and if we do not sustain the telecom consumers, there is nothing we cannot do. Okay, it's all Starr Radio UK. It's all coming your way from the favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. But while some people are struggling to get jobs, to get monies, and not to go to long shots, then the president has done something. President Muhammadu Buhari, 10 days on before he hands over, has granted automatic employment in the federal civil service to 65 former members of the National Youth Service Corps. Highlighting the achievements of the scheme since its establishment 50 years ago, the NYSC 50th Anniversary Honors Awards at the State House Conference Center, that was yesterday, the president said that out of the 65 recipients, 52 individuals received the Presidential Honors Award, while the remaining 13 were physically challenged ex-corps members recognized under NYSC Hope Alive program. In addition to the employment, President Buhari also disclosed that both groups will be awarded scholarships to pursue their education up to doctorate degree level at any university of their choice within the country. He announced a cash prize of 250,000 naira for each of the top award winners and 200,000 for the other award recipients, including the physically challenged ex-corps members under the NYSC Hope Alive program. The president issued a directive to the head of the civil service of the Federation of the Federal Civil Service Commission and the Minister of Education to ensure adherence to the employment offer and the granting of scholarships. And President Buhari used the occasion to pay tribute to corps members from the batches being honored who lost their lives under various circumstances while serving the nation. But for their transition, some of them might have been here today as part of the honorees. May God grant their souls peaceful repose. They remain our heroes and heroines. The nation shall continue to remember their sacrifices towards building strong, advisable, strong, indivisible, and egalitarian entity. The president sympathized with the ex-corps members that sustained varying degrees of disability during the service year, acknowledging their significant sacrifices for the progress of the country, assuring them that the nation stands in solidarity with them. And we also stand in solidarity with these individuals there. All right, it's Starr Radio UK, 11:32 the time. So bringing you updates from Nigeria. Maybe you've experienced something from there or benefited from any of this. Feel free to share it with us. Well, let's move on. We need $396 million to tackle humanitarian crisis in Northeast. But the question is, how much do we need to equip the military enough to actually provide security for these individuals in this part? Because if they are able to do so, these people will be able to go about their duties without relying or depending on government to fend for them. But the United Nations has said 396 million was urgently needed to rescue a humanitarian crisis in the northeast region of the country. The UN lamented that humanitarian partners will only reach about 300,000 of the 4.3 million at risk people in need of food assistance in the northeast if nothing was urgently done to address the situation. In a statement yesterday, the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, after the launch of the Lean Season Food Security and Nutrition Crisis Multi-Sector Plan 2023, stated to prevent a widespread hunger and malnutrition crisis in northeast Nigeria from turning fully catastrophic, $396 million is urgently needed to scale up humanitarian action in Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe states. Now, more than half a million people may face emergency levels of food insecurity with extremely high rates of acute malnutrition and cases of mortality if there is no rapid and significant scale up of humanitarian assistance. It's estimated 2 million children under 5 in 3 states are likely to face wasting this year. You are noted. This is the most immediate and life-threatening form of malnutrition. Now, some 700,000 children are at risk of severe acute malnutrition, meaning that they are 11 times more likely to die compared to well-nourished children. So somebody will ask the question, what is the way forward? Where are they going to get this money from? So obviously, what is going to happen is that there's going to be a catastrophe happening. Is it in the next 12 months or what? Well, these are some of the stories making the rounds. But our leaders will sit in Abuja, the federal capital, or in the state capitals, and say, everything is fine, we are working on things, and let us get on with it. But what do you think? It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. A couple of stories more, and then we'll bring the update to a close. This time round, Nasser El-Rufai, governor of Kaduna State, has revoked the right of occupants of 9 properties belonging to the former governor of the state, Ahmed McCarthy. The affected properties have also been marked for demolition. The notice of revocation and withdrawal of the right of occupancy was served to the officials of the affected properties on Thursday in Kaduna. The notice was signed by Mahmood Aminu, Registrar of Kaduna Geographical Information Service, and addressed to Ibrahim McCarthy, Director of the Kane Properties, Plot 11, Mutala Square, Doka, on Thursday, May 18. The affected properties include 5 plots of land in Mogadishu, 3 plots of land on Kwato Road, and 1 plot at Doka, all within Kaduna Metropolis. The notice reads, I have been directed to refer the above rights of occupancy and inform you that His Excellency Governor of Kaduna State, Nasser El-Rufai, in the exercise of power conferred on him under Section 28, Subsection 5A and B of Land Use Act 1978, has revoked the right of occupancy of 9 properties belonging to Ahmed McCarthy within the state. It is pertinent to note that this development comes less than 11 days to the end of El-Rufai's tenure in office. So the question is it vengeance or what? Tell me. But this all coming away from Starr Radio UK, and it's your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. The final story from Nigeria, then we can take a break. Court has extended Sean Kuti's day in police custody. A Lagos Chief Magistrate Court sitting at Sabo Yaba yesterday ordered that Afrobeat singer Sean Kuti should spend 4 more days in police custody over alleged assault on a police officer on the 3rd mainland bridge in Lagos. Now, Chief Magistrate Adeola Olatubuson made the order sequel to a motion ex parte brought by the police seeking for an extension of Sean's remand order in police custody for 4 days at the State Criminal Investigation Department, the SCID, Yaba, Lagos, to enable them carry out further investigation. Now, Simon Lau, Yatunde Cardozo, P.A. Egbonike, Umar Bello, Cyril Ajefo, Mr. Maruf Adimashon, Ayodele Oladiran, and S.A. Adebisin, Emmanuel Eze, V.I. Ekperezi, and Idowu Osungbore led the team of prosecution counsel. They told the court that they filed the motions supported by 12 paragraphs affidavits with one exhibit attached to it. Now, Locke, who told the court that the motion was supported with a written address, added that the 12 paragraphs affidavits was deposed to by one Sahid Kasim, an investigating police officer attached to State Criminal Investigation Department, Yaba, Lagos. The application was brought in pursuant to section application. Okay, now he said it's our humble submission that from the facts, nature, and circumstances of this case, the applicant is entitled to the relief sought from this honorable court in the interest of justice, public order, and morality. Now, responding to the prosecution's submission, Femi Akinyemi, counsel, who held the brief for Adeyinka Olamide Fusika, the defendant's counsel, prayed the court to stand down the matter, but Chief Magistrate Olatuboson refused the prayer of the defendant's counsel for a stand down and subsequently granted the prosecution prayer for extension of remand order. She ordered that the defendant be further remanded in police custody for 4 days while the file be duplicated and sent to the Director of Public Prosecution and subsequently adjourned to May 23. Nakuti, who adorned the wine-colored shirt on the blue jean, was accompanied to the court by mobile police officers at about 12:58 p.m. He was, however, taken away at 1:11 p.m. in police white Hilux van with plate number covered. He sat at the back seat and in the midst of police officers. Well, did he control himself? Somebody say no, he didn't control his temper and went on, bam, and that has landed him there. But what do you think about that? Were the police also being fair? What exactly took place? Do we have to, take our police officers on when they do things like that? Or if you can take their numbers or stuff like again, when people see that the courts will not adjourn or adjudicate or pronounce judgment for them, when they lose a trust in the judicial system, then they go on their path, anything they want to act and protect themselves. But what do you think? This and a lot more we're bringing your way, but this is where I bring the update from Nigeria to a close. And let me we take a commercial break, I'll bring you some lovely tune, and then we will continue with the show. It's Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And as I said, apologies, Yomi has been caught up in an event, and therefore that's why he's not being with us. But tomorrow, Monday, God willing, he will be with us. Stay tuned. Don't you go away.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and intact? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination intact. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820, or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamb Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Well, special tune from the one and only Jeanette, or really Demi, My Nation or My Country. Alright then, I hope that you enjoy the tune. Yes, it's Starr Radio UK. I say it all the time, the program is not void of music, and therefore we'll make sure that we bring you the music that will suit you, because we play only the best. Okay, let's see this quick announcement, and then we continue with the show. And it's streaming on your platform, on your tablets, or wherever you are watching us from this morning. The Women to Women Ministry is embarking on a special program, and it says the supermarket sweep. Yes, it's hosted by Pastor Annette Hercules, and the guest speaker is going to be Rebecca Harris, who holds a BSc Global Nutrition and Health. Okay, now unpacking food labels and what they mean, how to read food labels in a rush, and what is a traffic light for. Here in the UK, we've got a traffic light system. Yes, so those of you watching us, you can see that the flyer that is on has got some traffic light telling you various things: vegan, medium, low, medium calories, low sugar, medium fat, high, that is red, and medium salt, and all that stuff. How does that actually even benefit you? You want to know more? Because you want to do your best to make sure that you are well, so that when you are old, you don't find yourself wobbly. Now, I'm not saying that, but apart from accident being happening and stuff like that, we must do our best to make sure that we are well, so that we are able to live life and live it to the fullest. What about that? Until God calls you, of course. Well, so how to read the food labels in a rush, what is the traffic light system, and how you can use it, demystifying terms such as a whole grain, whole food, plant-based, low fat, etc., etc. The program is for tomorrow, the 20th of May 2023, and the time 1 p.m. but it's going to be online by Zoom. Okay, well, Zoom, the meeting ID and everything is streaming underneath it, so we wanted to just get on. Somebody say, get on with it. Get on with it. You dial in to the program, join them via Zoom. Their Zoom meeting. The number is 985159R in lowercase, 25642, and the password 657251. So get in touch with them, whatever it is, but you can call them on 07808 807 151, 07808 I should have had Rebecca Harris with me this afternoon, but she's also been caught up in some event there and therefore can't make it, but she's for sure making it tomorrow on that program, the supermarket sweep. All right then, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to 8 minutes to the top of the hour. As I said, the program will be brought to a close at 12:30, so the lines will be open at 12 o'clock. So wherever you are, join in and let your voice be known. Now let's move on to other parts of the African countries, Africa, and let's see what is happening there. Other parts of Africa. I didn't say African country. Africa is not a country. I'm not Donald Trump. All right then. So, is it Stella Palian? Alaska. Yeah, the governor of Alaska, they wanted her to run as a running mate. Was it to Trump or who? Okay, so in other stories making the rounds on the African continent, now Zimbabwe has received a fleet of Russian helicopters for disaster management policing. It says Zimbabwe took delivery yesterday of helicopters, 8 reportedly purchased from the Russian Federation. The event was attended by President Emerson Mnangagwa, the chief executive of the Russian State Corporation Rostec. The aircraft will be deploying for policing, wildlife protection duties, and disaster management. Zimbabwe is under sanctions. We are constrained, unlike our neighbors and the rest of the world, to acquire the tools we need to mitigate the impact of cyclones and disaster in our region. The head of state said he celebrated the handover of the equipment, saying it will enhance his country's response capacity and enable Zimbabwe to assist neighbors such as Malawi and Mozambique. They are often struck by natural disaster. The event took place at the Robert Mugabe International Airport in Harare. The Russian envoy to Zimbabwe was in attendance, according to President Mnangagwa. Now, cooperation between countries under sanctions only makes sense. Yes, so I'm under sanctions, you are under sanctions, we cooperate. It's like Mali and Guinea. They are under sanctions, they are cooperating. They are still trying to exist or survive. So Zimbabwe is under sanctions by the same people for different reasons. Then you are told, don't speak to that guy who is under sanction. When I am under sanctions, you are saying victims of sanctions should not speak to each other. What nonsense, quote and unquote, he said. According to the Zimbabwe Presidential Communications Office, of the 18 helicopters delivered, 12 are the air ambulances, while 6 are designed for law enforcement. The fleet will officially reach 32 by the year 2025. So sanctions, well, so we see that we're saying that Russia shouldn't trade. We are trying to put trade sanctions on them. However, they seem to be doing well. They are trading with all sorts. Yes, trading with China, trading with Zimbabwe, trading with South Africa. South Africa say, I'm neutral, so anyone. Yes. So what do you think about all that? It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, Morocco, imprisoned journalist says he is victim of persecution. The Moroccan journalist Tafik Bakarin, imprisoned since 2018, is suffering ill treatment from the prison administration. His family said on Thursday, who are worried about the deterioration of his state of health and call for urgent intervention. Mr. Bakarin, 54, founder and columnist of the Daily Akhbar Yom, suffers from diabetes and is the target of persecution and ill treatment inflicted by the prison establishment on him. His wife, Asmai Masu, said in a message addressed to the news media. Now, due to complications related to his diabetes, he has been suffering from terrible pain in his shoulder for 3 years, and the prison doctors advised him to continue treatment in a hospital outside the prisons, she explains. The penitentiary establishment accepted that he continues this treatment outside the prison, but on condition that he be handcuffed and wear the uniform of the criminals, which was refused by the journalist, seeing it as an attack on his dignity and his humanity, explains Ms. Masu. In another press release published on Facebook page, the journalist's wife calls to intervene urgently by all possible means to help him. Now, the prison administration did not react, but in a clarification published last weekend, it had assured that the TB prisoner benefits from the care necessary health care both within the penitentiary establishment and external hospitals. Tafik Bakarin was sentenced to 15 years in prison for rape, trafficking in human beings, and sexual assault against several women. He denied these accusations. Faced with criticism, the Moroccan authorities responded that Mr. Bakarin was tried in the context of a common law case that has no connection with his freedom of expression, highlighting the independence of the justice. The NGO Amnesty International recently accused prison administration of depriving the right to read and write of imprisoned human rights defenders and journalists, including Mr. Bakarin, Omar Radi, and Suleiman Razini, and charges denied by the prison administration. Well, this is a lot more coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, in Burkina Faso, several hundred people demonstrated on Thursday in Nona, a major city in western Burkina Faso, plagued by jihadist violence to demand more security after the death of 6 residents on Tuesday. Now, hundreds of people gathered in that's yesterday in front of the gendarme detachment of Nona, capital of the province. Security in the city and around Madi Kombari, one of the protesters said. Okay, just bear with me. I think there was a freeze on the broadcast. I don't know what caused it, a fluctuation there, but wherever you are, it is still up and running there. Okay, so we are witnessing a progressive blockade. For several weeks, armed individuals have been carrying out checks on certain access of the city. We want these access to be secure to facilitate our movement, said Yakubi Koti, another demonstrator. This demonstration follows the assassination of 6 inhabitants kidnapped on Tuesday on the Nona Jibazu axis and whose dead bodies were found on Wednesday morning. He said the deputy head of the gendarme brigade, who received the message from the demonstrators, assured that their concerns will be taken into account as soon as possible. Western Burkina, bordering Mali, has been particularly bereaved in recent days. On Sunday, at least 13 people were killed by unidentified armed individuals in Horema Karigai, a locality located 10 kilometers north of Nona, according to local sources. On May 13, 33 civilians were killed in an attack by suspected jihadists in a village of Yolu, still in the Boko du Mohan region. Burkina Faso, the scene of 2 military coups in 2022, has been caught since 2015 in a spiral of jihadist violence that appeared in Mali and Niger a few years earlier, which has spread beyond their borders. Well. So what are the authorities going to do for them? It's a minute after 12 the time. Starr Radio UK, the station, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, one final story, and then we move on to other stories. We'll take a break and then move on to other stories. Now, Tunisian journalists on Thursday protested against repressive anti-terror laws that they say are being used to intimidate the media after a broadcaster was jailed for 5 years earlier this week. Now, dozens of protesters gathered in front of the National Union of Journalists headquarters in the capital, Tunis, chanting, "We are journalists, not terrorists, and freedom for the Tunisian press." The rally follows a court use of anti-terrorism laws on Tuesday to increase to 5 years a jail term handed to Kalima Gwesemi, a journalist, Mosaic FM radio station, after he appealed a 1-year sentence delivered in November. Now, Gwesemi was found guilty of having internationally disclosed information relating to operation of interception, infiltration, audiovisual surveillance, or data collection, his lawyer said after the latest ruling. Now, this is a frank and clear political orientation towards lockdown and repression, which targets disobedient media, said Mahdi Jazi, president of the Journalists Union. In a quote, he said, "We are once again raising the alarms against the rollback of the freedoms of this country and the legal proceedings targeting journalists, lawyers, and trade unionists and other people for comments, articles, or even a song." Well, it's all Starr Radio, okay? We're going to take a break, and once we come back, we'll continue with the show. But before then, let me announce the lines open and let us move on. You want to join in the conversation? Call us on 0208 133 2257 or 580208 133 2257 or 58. Happen to be the US or Canada is 0017183032737 0017183032737. You can text or WhatsApp us at 0753966174 0753966174. Our Twitter handle is at Starr Radio UK and email address is info@starradiouk.com. So let's take this break and I'll be with you. Stay tuned. Don't you go away.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy. Welcome back to the program. It is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. As I said, the lines are open. We're going to be ending the program in the next 23 minutes. Yes, our money man is also been caught up in some serious business transactions there, and he's going to be telling us more about that. So wherever you are, just stay tuned. Don't touch the dial at all, but continue to enjoy all that I'm bringing your way. Of course, as I do say, the program will not be void of music, so I'm going to be bringing you some lovely tunes there as well. But I'm saying good morning to Pastor Salome Ado as well, and to my bishop himself, yes, Pastor Joseph Ado, and the family and all Bible lifers in Milton Keynes. I hope you're all doing good. All right then. Let's move on to some other stories making the rounds to Mr. Tabiri and Mrs. Evelyn Tabiri and my girls. Good morning. Good afternoon to you. Of course. It's an afternoon. Yes. All right then. So now let's move on. Okay, so in Ghana, Anas Arameyao Anas, an investigative journalist who, goes round when he's appearing before in public, decides to put a mask, sort of something to cover his face, has decided to withdraw from testifying against Nyantechi. Now, because Nyantechi was the GFA boss at the time, the Ghana Football Association boss at the time, who was caught up in an investigative piece that was done. I remember during which World Cup was it, and it was aired on Channel 4 I remember it as if it was yesterday. Now, investigative journalist Anas Armeyao Anas says he will no longer testify in the criminal trial of former president of the Ghana Football Association, Kwesi Nyantakyi's case. Now, he explains allowing his face to be inspected before court proceedings endangers him. The journalist was this week directed by an Accra High Court to testify in open court in his trademark mask, but his face will have to be seen by Mr. Nyantakyi before the hearing begins. Anas points out that his request for the protection of his identity stems from his role as an undercover journalist, and exposing his face elevates the risk. In May 18, a press release, Tiger Eye PI indicated that Anas requested for the protection of his identity stems from his role as an undercover agent and the real and elevated risk that revealing his identity to the accused persons would severely compromise his physical security and personal safety. He says that he only opted to testify in the stead of his colleague Ahmed Swale, who was killed, on condition that his identity will be protected. But now that the court has ruled that that's not going to happen, well, he therefore cannot accept the invitation to testify. On the back of this, prudence requires that he declines the invitation to reveal his identity, according to the statement. It presents a major challenge. The entire case hinges on the work done by Anas and his colleagues at Tiger Eye PI. The trial itself was delayed because the key witness, Ahmed Swale, was killed. The Attorney General thus has the option of compelling Anas to testify, in which case they risk having him not cooperating when he mounts the box, dropping the case entirely, or having another person testify. So what is going to be? But the last option comes with the risk of that person not having personal knowledge of the evidence. This is a criminal trial of the former football administrator, arising from the number 12 documentary which sought to expose corruption in Ghana football. On May 17, the court ruled that it's in the interest of justice that where the liberty of a citizen is at stake, such a person is given the needed facility to defend themselves. It noted that Anas is a principal witness in the determination of the case. His identity is pointed out because crucial to allow the accused to identify him and to be able to defend himself. Now, the court said Anas has been seen in public addressing the media while wearing his bead masks, and this shows that he was comfortable appearing in public while disguising himself. The court therefore issued the following orders on how the case should proceed. Investigative journalist Anas Armeyao Anas will testify against former GFA president Kwesi Nyantakyi in open court by disguise in a mask. Mr. Nyantakyi will, however, have the opportunity to see his face in chambers before such a testimony takes place. Now, he said that he's not going to do that because that will be jeopardizing his security. Now, what do you think? That means that the whole case, because the witness, the main witness, Ahmed Swale, was the one who was shot. How many years ago? 3 or 4 years ago? Well, so what do you think about all that? He says that now I'm declining, that I'm not going to do that. Well, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, I think some decentralization is happening in the police force in Ghana. The Ghana Police Service has announced to the public that criminal clearance services in the country have been decentralized as a first step towards a full automation process. The move, according to the police, is part of the Ghana Police Service transformational agenda to improve the delivery of policing service to the public. In a statement, the police administration stated that effective Monday, 22nd of May 2023, persons seeking criminal clearance can do so in any of the 25 police regions across the country. Currently, all criminal background checks are conducted exclusively at the CID headquarters, Accra, and individuals and organizations who require this service have to travel all the way to Accra just for this purpose. In order to ease this burden, the criminal clearance services has been decentralized to all the 25 police regions across the country, and the service can now be accessed from these locations without the need to come to Accra, the statement explained. Currently, the Ghana Police Service has 25 police regional commands across the country where this service can be accessed. And they are Ahafo Region Command, that's in Goso, Bono Region Command Sunyane, Bono East Region Police Command Techiman, Ashanti Region Police Command Kumasi, Ashanti South Region Command Bekwai, Ashanti North Region Police Command Mampong, Tema Regional Police Command Tema, Central Region Police Command Cape Coast, Central East Region Police Command Kaswa, Central North Region Police Command Asinfosu, Central Eastern Regional Police Command Kafaridua, Eastern South Regional Police Command Kibi, Eastern North Impraiso, Northern Regional Police Command Tamale, Northeast Nolerigo, Savannah Damango, Upper East Regional Police Command Bolga, and Upper West Regional Police Command. Wow. The others are Volta Regional Police Command in Ho, Volta North Regional Police Command in Hohoi, OT Regional Police Command in Dambai, and Western Regional Police Command Takoradi, Western Central Regional Police Command Takwa, then Western North Regional Police Command Sewi Yoso, and Accra Nima Police Station. So the decentralization of the criminal clearance process is expected to make the service more accessible and convenient for individuals across the country, thereby bringing another policing service closer to the doorsteps of the public. We continue to urge the public to support us in their effort to become the best institution in the country and a reference point for Africa and beyond. Well, kudos to them. I think they are doing something good. So, as my friend would say, applaud the say. Well done to them. But interestingly, how long has this taken place? Okay. It is all Starr Radio, okay? We're moving on straight to other parts of the world to look at some other stories. As I just say, we're going to be bringing the first part of the program, bring the program to a close in the next 14 minutes. In other parts of the world, the G7 has met. Leaders of the G7 countries have met, and they are planning to starve Russia of more resources to fund their war. The G7 leaders are holding their annual meeting in Hiroshima, Japan. They have agreed new sanctions to stop the Russian war machine, a statement says. Now, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky will attend the summit on Sunday, a Ukrainian official reported. Now, Zelensky has confirmed his arrival in Saudi Arabia, where he will attend the Arab League summit. The physical presence of our president is absolutely important in order to defend our interests, Oleksiy Danilov said. The G7 comprises the US, UK, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, and Japan. But 8 other nations have been invited this year as well. Well, so what do you think? Is that going to actually turn around anything of the sort? Somebody says, not sure about that. Anyway, all right then. But we'll bring you the best as it goes on there. Now, after how many years of being outlawed in the Arab League, Assad is to attend the first Arab League summit since the start of the Syrian war. Now, 12 years, the last time he attended was 12 years. Mr. Assad was shunned by many fellow leaders after his government violent crackdown on a pro-democracy protest triggered a civil war in which 500,000 of people have been killed. Now, Syria was readmitted this month after states which had backed the opposition accepted its grip on power was secure. They include summits host Saudi Arabia. The rapprochement accelerated following the devastating earthquake that hit Turkey and northwestern Syria in February, when once hostile powers decided to send humanitarian aid to Syrian government-controlled areas. Now, China also brokered a surprise agreement in March that saw Saudi Arabia restore diplomatic ties with its longtime regional rival Iran. which along with Russia has helped Mr. Assad forces regain control of Syrian biggest cities. Now, large parts of the country are nevertheless still held by Turkish-backed rebels, jihadists, and Kurdish-led militias, fighters supported by the United States. Now, half of Syria's pre-war population of 22 million had to flee their homes. Some 6.8 million people are internally displaced, while another 6 million are refugees or asylum seekers abroad. Even before the earthquake struck, an estimated 15.3 million people inside Syria were in need of some form of humanitarian assistance, an all-time high since the war began. President Assad arrived on Thursday night in the Red Sea port city of Jeddah, where this year's Arab League summit is taking place. At a meeting of the foreign ministers at the 22 member states on Wednesday, Arab League Secretary General Ahmed Abu Gheit declared that he hoped that Syria regaining its seat is a precursor to the end of its conflict. But would they? Not sure about that. But it's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I want to start a story before we come to the UK and bring the program to a close. Authorities in Iran have executed 3 men sentenced to death in connection with the nationwide anti-government protests in a shooting attack that killed 3 security personnel in Isfahan in November. Amnesty International says they were subjected to unfair trials and allegedly tortured. Now, 4 other protesters have been hanged since December. Dozens more have been reportedly been sentenced to death or charged with capital offenses. The protests swept across the Islamic Republic following the death in custody of Masha Amini, 22-year-old Kurdish woman who was detained by morality police in Tehran in September for allegedly wearing his hijab improperly. The 3 who were executed on Friday, Majid Kazemi, 30, Saleh Mershemi, 36, and Saeed Yakubi, 37, were arrested after protests in the central city of Isfahan on 16th of November, during which 2 Basij paramilitary force members and police officers were shot dead. Sources said to Amnesty International that the men were forcibly disappeared, then tortured and forced to make incriminating statements that formed the basis of the criminal cases against them. Interrogators allegedly suspended Kazemi upside down, showed him a video of them torturing his brother, subjected him to mock execution, and threatened to kill his brother. In an audio message from inside Dastgard prison, where the 3 men were held, Kazemi was heard saying, "I swear to God, I am innocent. I didn't have any weapon on me. They, that's the security forces, kept beating me and ordering me to say, this weapon is mine." A very sad one there. A very sad one there. And that's why I asked the question, what do you do? What do you do? Somebody said that if you don't do anything, then you sit down and your rights will be controlled. But if you go on that path as well, what have you actually done? You have to prepare yourself that it could happen that you will not have the peace of mind. Maybe even your rights and everything will be taken away from you. And that's why I say every time that if you believe in something, you stand for it. It might end up that you lose your life because of that. However, be rest assured that maybe posterity, yes, your children's children, or your children's children. So how many generations have I mentioned there? Maybe the ones who benefit from your sacrifice that you have made. Yeah. All right then. So it's Starr Radio UK. Okay, 2 men have been arrested over shooting of police officer. The men were arrested by detective investigating attempted murder of Detective John Caldwell in Northern Ireland. It's one of the stories making the rounds this morning. Okay, and in some other stories as well, even as we bring the program to a close. Offer gene tests to stroke patients, NHS told. Now, people who have had a stroke caused by a blood clot should have. Let me take it again. Now, people who have had a stroke caused by a blood clot should have a DNA test to see whether they can be given a drug to help prevent more brain attacks. New draft guidelines for the NHS says that stroke risk increases when someone has had one previously, which is why preventative medication is recommended. But a standard anti-clot drug, Clopidogrel, works well for patients with certain genes only. Now, others need a different protective drug, so the gene check could save lives. The blood or saliva test is quick and affordable, so they've been instructed to offer that on the NHS. Well. So if you have any friends or relation who have suffered any attack of that sort, they can go on that path and have it as well. Now, one final story, and then we call it a close. A man has admitted preparing to murder a Christian preacher at Hyde Park, Speaker's Corner, in a terrorist attack. Edward Little, 21, from Brighton, was carrying £5,000 with which he hoped to purchase a firearm, a passport, and 2 phones when he was arrested last year. It was alleged his intended target was Harton Tash, who regularly argued with other speakers and their camera crew, as well as any police or soldiers. He pleaded guilty at the Old Bailey by video link from Belmarsh Jail. Now, earlier this year, Little of Felham Street denied preparing to commit acts of terrorism, but changed his plea and admitted a charge on Friday. He also admitted researching Hyde Park, where he planned to carry out the attack, collecting money to purchase a gun and traveling to buy it. Little was on his way into London in a taxi for which he had paid £300 when he was stopped and arrested on the 23rd of September 2022. Now, he had asked the driver if he could stop and pray at a mosque, although the driver had said there was not one on the way. The prosecution asserted Little researched other targets, including military figures and members of the Metropolitan Police, but defense lawyer Tom Godfrey said 21-year-old accepted targeting the preacher. Now, police later found an encrypted chat on one phone which set out his attack plan and the gun purchase. Now, Little declined to answer questions in the police interview, but his mood changed when he was shown a YouTube video of the preacher and he lunged himself across the table at an officer, swinging repeatedly with his fist before being restrained. He went on to admit assaulting the officer at Newbury Police Station on 28th of September and was sentenced to 40 weeks in prison. At a previous hearing, Judge Richard Marks said Little had an absolutely shocking previous record. Now, the defendant was convicted of 14 offenses on 7 separate occasions, including for robbery, having a knife, and drug dealing dating back to 2017. He will be sentenced on the 21st of July, and that is where I bring the program to a close for today. It's been a pleasure coming your way. But this weekend, KB Bossman is going to be coming your way with the Faith Talk, and is going to be having a very, very special guest, and they're going to be looking at some serious stuff that I want to quickly just share with you before I bring the program to a close. So just bear with me whilst my technical team load it up for us to be able to show it to you. And it's all to do with data analyst in 90 days. Become a data analyst in 90 days. Oh gosh, I think I'm interested in that. What about you? Well, it says that he's going to be having as his guest Callistus Callistus Ikonukai, who is a Microsoft certified data analyst, a trainer, and a digital career transformation coach, creditor. Okay, a lot more there. But they're going to be looking at how you can be earning a 6-figure income today. Digital economy requires more data analysts. So you want to know more? With AI coming into being and everything that is going on, and people thinking, what are we going to do tomorrow? What work are we going to be going to? Well, that's a job opportunity for you. So make sure you join them on Sunday exactly at 2 p.m. Yes, Sunday the 21st of May at 2 p.m. on the Faith Talk Show. All right then, ladies and gentlemen, let me say thank you very much for joining us today. You have a wonderful weekend, but Sunday will be coming your way with a live chat broadcast, and tomorrow morning at dawn as well, we're going to be bringing you the Power Hour with Reverend Michael Esiama. It comes away from Wednesday to Saturday dawn. That's 5:30 to 6:30 a.m. So make a date with them, with him and his team when they come your way. But other side, there's going to be lots of music this afternoon. As my colleague would say, more music, less talk when our DJs take over. But enjoy this song from the one and only Lamar, and it says a cover version of Lean on Me, an acoustic version. And when that song ends and you don't hear from me, it's been me, Archie, saying have a top of the day. Bye bye for now.
Sometimes in our lives we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening.
You need to borrow, for no one can solve those of your needs that you won't let show. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, and I will help you carry on. It won't be long. I know that it won't be long till I'm gonna somebody to lean on. Yeah, you just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Everybody sing. Just call on me when you need a friend. When you need a friend, yeah. Let me break it down. This one goes out to anybody who's lost somebody. See, I know what it feels like to lose someone you love.